everyone, and welcome back for another episode of The Bright Side of Life. I am your host, Melissa Bright, and we are back for a third time with Tim Husereau. He has now been on the podcast. This is his third time, and we are sharing more and more of his story with long COVID. But this time we have yet another story, and we have a charity that he has actually started to help other people that have been affected by either long COVID, long haulers, or the vaccinations. So we're going to do a recap of the last 2 years of his life, because actually Tim was on his last episode was 2 years ago, literally June 15th. So 3 days from now. So it seems that we just, keep bringing Tim back, and hopefully better stories. So Tim, how are you today on Monday, June 12th?
I've never been better. Thanks for having me on 3 times and allowing your listeners to listen to me 3 different times. So I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you are very welcome. Now, I'm going to encourage people to go and listen to that episode. Well, you can listen to this one, but if we're going to do a recap of it. But 2 years ago, where Tim was, he was an absolute hell. He thought he had found some answers. He basically was suffocating. He found out that this was long haulers. It wasn't depression like so many doctors were trying to tell him and give him medicine. Went to the Mayo Clinic. Actually, they made it worse. And then he found some relief by going to the hyperbolic chambers to do blood flow. They found out that he had POTS, which is blood circulation. So that's kind of where we were the last episode. So things were getting better from that time, but now, we talk every now and again, but
yeah,
what's been going on since then?
So I was excited 2 years ago to come on the podcast and talk, because I found hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy through Restore, and it did give me some oxygen in my lungs, going from suffocating to some oxygen, but it was only temporarily that would hang around. And then I ended up buying a hyperbaric machine so I could do it at my house. And I ended up doing 133 sessions with it. And after 33 sessions, my health got worse and worse and worse. And which is crazy about being a long hauler. I know all long haulers can attest to this. And when I got a hold of you 2 years ago, I was like, hey, I'm feeling better. Well, and that we're going to dive into this with the spike protein and the inflammation that it causes in the body. When it's warm out, your blood flows through your vascular system a lot better. So over the last couple years in the summertime, I'm like, hey guys, I'm feeling better. I think I'm kind of healed. Things are good. And then as soon as wintertime would come, my lungs would shut down. My body would quit moving. And so I learned a great deal since the last time I've been on, and I want to share all of it. So.
Wow. Okay. And that's such a good point that you make, because I didn't know this either. So you told me today that you're 84 days out of hell. So what's been going on for the last, I know this is kind of a loaded, last 2 years? So what more have you learned?
So I'll hit the 84-day point. So over a series of 2 years, 3 months, and 8 days, I spent $120,000. I've seen 36 different doctors. Maybe 34 of them told me I was depressed and anxious, nevertheless, none of them offered me any help or hope except for get vaccinated. It's going to help you. Come to find out, if I would have gotten vaccinated, I would have died from pulmonary edema. I would have actually suffocated in my lungs had I taken any of those doctors' advice. Any of the people, during all that time were saying, just get vaccinated. I heard it helps. I would have suffocated, and this podcast would not be possible. So 84 days ago, I was not prior to 84 days ago. I got stem cells 84 days ago, but February of this year, I went to Vegas to promote my charity, which we're going to talk about, to help other long haulers and vaccine injured. I left to go to Vegas with pneumonia. I not only was suffocating from long haul, but I had pneumonia, so I could maybe walk 2 or 3 steps, dragging my stuff through the airports. But I knew if I got to Vegas, I would meet doctors that could not only give me hope, my daughter, who also I didn't tell you had long COVID, who was suffocating on a daily basis since last October, but everyone else. So I made sure I made it to Vegas, and it was a godsend because I met a doctor who told me all about stem cells, which I tried in the past, but he also turned me on to what I'm not teaching people because I'm not a doctor, but I'm educating people to look into your thymus gland, because the thymus gland has a lot to do with how we stay healthy. And this is the reason I think most people get long COVID, is because their thymus gland may be underactive. One of the reasons. I mean, talk to a doctor. There's many reasons, but I made it to Vegas. Doctor pointed me to stem cells. I got those 84 days ago. Within 2 hours of getting my stem cell treatment, all the pain, and I drove 3 hours to Kirksville to get this treatment up north. 3 hours there. The second hour on the way back, all the pain in my chest completely went away. It was gone. All my breathing for 2 years, 3 months, and 8 days completely came right back. And it's been back since.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are the stem cells like? What are they doing?
So it's a combination of stem cells and exosomes. Basically, the placenta that gives birth to children, they derive these from there. So they're brand new. They make sure there's no diseases. They can't be vaccinated. Not that I'm shaming it or anything,
right?
But they just make sure they're perfect cells to be put into the body.
Okay.
These cells that go in and they clear up. This is from my understanding. Inflammation and fibrosis of your vascular system. We have 60 to 70,000 miles of vascular system. These stem cells go in there and they clean it all up and just bring it back down to normal levels, because I got told February before I went to the conference that I had less than 10 years left to live because of my inflammation markers were so high. And they're saying 10 years is the max you're going to make it. You know, I'm stubborn. I probably would have made it 12 or 13. But the point is it's really good to get these stem cells if you have inflammation conditions. It will bring everything back down to where it needs to be.
And do you only have inflammation because of long COVID, or was this something that existed before?
So I can't answer that because I didn't test my blood. Everything I do now is testing through the blood so I can give the proper response. Back in the beginning when I was just taking shots at things, it was, let's try this. So it's from long COVID, to be straightforward. I didn't have any inflammation issues. I was an endurance athlete, but I can't show proof before I was sick that I didn't have inflammation, is the point that I'm trying to bring. But my interleukin 6 and whichever marker is supposed to be low was 10 times higher than it should have been. And that's basically I would have got cancer if I had not gotten that under control. So
holy shit.
Yeah.
Are stem cells seeming to be the best answer for people that are being affected by long haulers, or is it just what has happened for you, or where are your opinions on that?
So, and I'm trying to word this properly. I give my advice through my experience.
Yes.
Because I'm not a doctor.
Correct.
And I have given my advice to people and it has helped them. But from my understanding, some people it might not work the right way.
Okay.
Saying all that, stem cells, from everything that I've seen, the way that these doctors that I've partnered with through my charity are using them, there seems to be no side effects. So it's either going to work and fix you or nothing's going to happen at all. And so I've done the stem cells twice before this last treatment. I did it twice before this last treatment. and this is why I have to be careful because I'm trying to educate people. We have spike protein from COVID, right?
Okay.
That is what made me a long hauler. It was traveling around my 60 to 70,000 miles of vascular system, and it is what it sounds like. It's a little ball. I'm trying to find my screen with little things going out, and it scratches your vascular system all up. If you do not remove said spike protein and you get stem cells, through my experience, the condition stays the same. So I've done it twice, nothing. Third time I did it, I got on nattokinase, which actually goes in and eats spike protein, and it helps the vascular system heal. I was on it for a month and a half before I did stem cells this time, and it actually stuck because I think I detoxed enough from the spike protein, and then I put the stem cells in, and then it allowed my system to actually heal this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you put in your body? NATO what?
It's called nattokinase. It's very similar to ivermectin.
Yeah.
They're both Japanese roots. They're roots from the ground. They're good. They come from God, the earth.
Okay.
And again, talk to a doctor before you try it, because nattokinase is kind of similar to aspirin, where it thins the blood out. So, don't just go out and get it. Really, and we'll get to the charity later, but I have a lot of doctors that can point you in the right direction on what you should and shouldn't take. But I took it to detox, and we did it for my daughter too, who suffocated. I mean, it was a mirror image of myself, just every single day, hitting the ground, suffocating. And my wife looks at me and says, "We have to fix this." And me, I'm like, I'm trying to get out of hell here myself, but so in my own survival mode, I'm like, take this medicine, find this doctor, do this. And then behind me, my daughter's dying. And so I had to stop looking to save myself and go. And so then my focus came to saving her, which was a godsend, because as I'm trying to save someone outside myself, I figured out the answer. I stopped trying to save myself. I saved my daughter. And she's got her first swim meet tonight. I mean, she's going to be swimming laps.
Which daughter is this?
It's my hippie, my 13-year-old. Yeah, she's the coolest kid ever. She's 13. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, and I'm giving us both 95%. We're both 95% better, because there's still that little fluctuation where there is, from my understanding, spike protein in our body. Because you can get it, like, if you're vaccinated, Melissa, and I come up and I'm in the same room as you can shed that spike protein into my body.
Holy shit. And
I've partnered with doctors that have proven this in case study and their patients. For instance, a husband got vaccinated. Wife did not. They live together, of course, right? She had COVID. So I'm going to mess this model up. So if there's any doctors or professionals out here, I'm sorry, but this is the way my brain remembers. His spike protein levels, because you can test those now, were 24,000, right? And again, that's the number that's going to be off. Hers should have been less than 400, right? Hers were 22,000, because she lives with someone that's been vaccinated. That spike protein sheds into her. Now, the spike protein, if you do any reading, not biased reading, but understanding of the spike protein, causes inflammation. It's not supposed to be in the body. So what I'm trying to educate people, without having rocks tossed at me, because I'm not taking anyone's side, is the spike protein's bad. You need to find a way to detox from it, because that's the new pandemic, is what the spike protein will do to your body.
Okay. Now, when you say detox, what does that look like? I know that's what you said you did.
Correct.
But what is that like explain what that is? You're just eating something or taking something and it's...
Yeah, it's not like you think, like a cleanser or anything.
Yeah, because that's what I am thinking of.
Yeah, the actual detox itself is so for me, I'll just say for me, you have to eat a strict diet if you're a long hauler or vaccine injured. Again, I think they both stem from the spike protein, but you have to eat a strict diet. And since we talked last, the only thing I eat is meat and veggies. I stay away from carbs. I can now since I've been healed, but we'll get into that. So the detox is you have to eat foods that don't inflame your body, and then you have to take something to take that spike protein out of your body. Now, I took the nattokinase, and it took almost a month before I started feeling better from it. So it's not something that you feel that day. I didn't feel anything from it. And to me, I'm sitting here just waiting for this stuff to do something miraculous, and it never does. So you don't see it, you don't feel it. It's just behind the scenes that what I took, the nattokinase, is going in there and it's eating the spike protein. And that's the best way it was explained to me. It eats it up. It gobbles it all up. And so it can clean your system up so they can start working properly.
Why would somebody not just take that all the time? Like, is that possible? Is it too hard on their body?
No. So there's no side effects to it from my understanding, other than, like I said, it's like an aspirine. It can thin your blood out.
Oh, okay.
So again, yeah, they need to talk to a medical professional. I take hydroxychloroquine along with nattokinase right now, and that's the one that Trump was coming out talking about in the beginning. Hey, this is used, and these are the things that should have been used in the beginning. Not to get off on that tangent, we should have been using ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, and nattokinase, but you couldn't find that information. So I think this is my own thoughts against any doctors and just my own experience. I think every single person should talk to a doctor, see what they can take to go through some sort of detox from spike protein.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So will you have to continue doing your stem cells?
So the protocol that we put through people on our charity is they get three. They get 3 different treatments.
Oh, okay.
I did one, and my body was so excited to have freedom after one. I just haven't looked back at going back for more. And to be transparent, since I am that kind of guy, during this whole thing, I spent $120,300. Right. It's not cheap to do. And I'm also in real estate. And if anyone's paying attention, it's not real good right now. No. So right now is not a good time for me to go back to get any more financially. There will be a time, but right now I don't think I need it. Like, I'm enjoying life. I'm literally enjoying life more than ever because, I feel great and I can breathe. I don't have any limitations right now.
Just say you don't have any limitations. Don't put right now. Don't say that.
I'm never going to have limitations again.
There you go. But I do know, since your journey has been so damn long and so damn hard, that for you, I can imagine it's hard to be like, you're enjoying every second, but it's also like, is something else coming? Like,
correct.
Yeah.
And it's there, but that's where my faith in that has grown out of this, and God, I mean, it's such a beautiful thing because, if it's my time, it's my time. I survived this for a purpose. I survived this for the charity to help other people. If something comes back, I'm now partnered with the best doctors in America. That was one of my goals, of being so pissed off from 36 different doctors just running me over. And the last one, she took $9,000 from me. And I kept collapsing on the couch working with her for 2 months. And I called her and I said, listen, I'm dying. I gave you $9,000. You sold me this beautiful thing and, this beautiful way to get me back to health. And and we're on a Zoom like this. And she goes, I think you're just depressed. You must have some deep-seated childhood issues. And that was my last one. So I got so angry at that. Like, I'm like, what do I do with this? So that sorry, you can hear that helicopter.
It's okay.
Benefits of being live. But that made me so angry. I said, I'm going to partner with doctors that know and care.
Yeah.
And this never has to happen. And I was still sick at the time. So I wanted to partner with people, with my charity, to not only help myself, help my daughter, but everyone else. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because you don't want to get the doctors, not that you would ever taken them on anyways, but you don't want to get those that just want to well, first of all, say you're depressed. I would have said, like, lady, do you want to see childhood issues? I'm about to come through the screen. Like,
I was just so baffled because when you're so sick, and that's why they were able to take such advantage of me. I was thinking about this morning, how to explain this. Like, when you're so sick and so desperate to just not suffocate, and there's all these invisible ceilings that were around me, like in this bubble. If I moved wrong this way, my brain would shut down. If I move wrong this way, I would suffocate. If I move wrong this way, my body wouldn't work right for 2 or 3 days. I could barely walk. And it's just an invisible bubble that you don't know. And yeah, it's a hell that I don't wish on any human being.
yeah. How did you find this doctor to help your daughter?
So this doctor, so I was doing research on the spike protein, because I had a checklist every day, go through trial and error, $120,000. That was my testing grounds. I tried everything. And so I'd come up to something and I'd try it. And if it didn't work, I'd check it off the list. And then I just kept coming back to spike protein. Well, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this? And then as I'm growing my charity in the beginning, before we went live with it all, I'm talking to all these doctors. And there's one doctor, Dr. Flory, who we were going back and forth sending information about spike protein. And I was like, man, this has got to be a sign from God to look more into it. So I looked more into it, and then I did a bunch of research, and I brought it to him, and he's like, that's, he shared with me what he thought would work, and I shared what I thought would work. So we combined 4 supplements, and then we immediately started using them on myself. And I had to convince my wife, because she doesn't want anything. She's like, when your daughter's already suffocating, I don't want to give my kid anything that's going to make them any worse.
Right.
But I knew where she was mentally and physically, because I was living her life. Right. So I said, we have to do this. I feel comfortable with trying these things. There shouldn't be any side effects. So that it basically was just a doctor and I going back and forth. And then come to find out, we went to Texas 2 months ago and met with the top doctors in America, and they're using all the supplements. So, wow. Yeah.
And this is the detox thing that you took and everything.
Yeah, this is one of, they have a bunch of different protocols, but this is one of the protocols that they use. And me and another doctor with our brains smashed it together, and other people are using it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy. Now, something else I wanted to talk about, because you had these 36 doctors that were telling you one thing or another. Mm-hmm. And I guess what makes me sad is, like, well, we talked about before how so many of them said it was depressed, and that they do get a kickback from selling you whatever type of medication. Well, so many of them just wanted to give you anxiety medicine, which I knew it was to, like you said, to help your headaches. Mm-hmm. But they just wanted to, like, write you off and whatever. Mm-hmm. What makes me so sad is, like, is this the best that they're, like, really doing? Like, do they really not know any better? Are they trying to further educate themselves to be like, if you could just shake them and be like, it's not that I'm depressed, I literally can't breathe, why are you not comprehending that? Mm-hmm. But they still come back and say, like, well, just try this medication. That's like really and the other sad thing is, some people won't they might just get one opinion or 2 opinions and then just give up. Yeah. Thank God for you don't. But for you to have to go through 36 doctors and $120,000 is, like, insane.
It is. It is absolutely insane. And that's why the charity's here, because, like I said, I was desperate and I'm dying.
Right.
And I'm suffocating. And there's a lot of people out there that are listening to this that are probably going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for a doctor, because to see a specialist, you have to wait 3, 6, sometimes 9 months. So you put in your head, hey, if I can just make it into that doctor's office, I'm going to be saved. And out of those 36 doctors, I probably had 10 that were specialists. So I waited 10 times thinking I'm dying to get to a specialist, to walk in, and they fully examine me, whether it's my brain or my lungs or anything else. And they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. So the hope that just gets let out of you is just, I had to go to a level that and it's a God thing. I did not know I had that in me to walk out of office visits where I'm suffocating and the doctors are like, there's nothing wrong with you. The specialists I'm talking about, you wait 6 months and you put all your hope on that one day, that one moment they're going to save me. And they don't. And they say there's nothing they can do for you. And it's too early. And that's what you said. The doctors, they don't know. These doctors didn't know. They're not, their information came from books, right? It's not coming from up top where it should be coming from. And I'm not pointing the fingers at anything like Big Pharma, but that's exactly where I'm pointing it. Big Pharma is censoring what these doctors are knowing. So I don't think these doctors are bad at all. I don't think they're getting the information given to them to help people like me and anyone else affected. And that's why on our website, we have a tab where you click on there. If you want to work with a doctor, it's called a COVID literate medical professional. These people are educated in exactly what we're going through. They will not call you crazy. Well, they call me crazy because I'm crazy, but they will not call you depressed, because although spike protein, to be serious, it does cause depression and anxiety, because it attaches to your vagus nerve. That little spike, it can attach to your vagus nerve, and it can cause anxiety and depression. It literally can. So people will go to the doctors nowadays and say, hey, I'm depressed. And I'm not pointing all their depression to spike protein, but if it's never been there before, and your job hasn't changed and your environment's the same and everything's good and you don't have any trauma that you're not dealing with, it's probably spike protein that's causing this. So a detox could help that out. Again, not being a doctor, because I don't want people to take the gospel, but it's a real thing.
Yep. It's so crazy too, because we said this on the last episode, is like, well, yeah, after you don't feel good for 21 days, then 40 days, then 3 months. Yeah, that's going to cause depression anyways, because when you feel like shit, how can you possibly be super happy? So yes, that could be it. Yeah. But it's not, that's not the whole picture.
I had my first aha moment of not, and I knew I was never depressed about what I was going through, but I was cooking dinner the other night, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just me in the kitchen cooking, and I'm like, you know what? Like, life is good, and I just can't believe it just was like, so many of doctors, friends, and family said I was depressed during this whole thing. And I'm sitting here cooking dinner, and I alluded to that the economy's not good for work. So this could be one of those moments where I'd be like, man, I could be depressed right now, because real estate hasn't been this bad since 1997. So I'm just trying to get that point across. I can get the whole full spectrum. And I'm like, I have a reason to be upset. You know, I spent all my family's money to not die, and now work's not strong, and I am happy, you know, like this is, so it was just like, aha. I wanted to look at everyone and say, I told you I wasn't depressed, but you know, it doesn't do no good. My journey moving forward is to help others and not turn around and to all the naysayers that said anything wrong, because unless you go through something, you have no clue whatsoever. So
no. Well, and that's also important, because I mean, Tim, you're just resilient. Like, that's literally like,
thank you.
Extremely resilient, because this can make people depressed. It, on top of the economy stuff and the business that you have, the fact that you are already like, you're like, I am abundant right now. Like, even though work is not good, I'm abundant now. And for you to have that mindset is so huge, because you will keep getting blessed in ways, instead of just thinking like, I'm in lack.
Yeah.
Like, keeping that mindset is going to, it won't matter what the economy is doing.
That makes me so happy you said that. Just I'm someone else to see it and reciprocate it. I appreciate that a lot.
That's literally what it is, because if you are feeling abundant, then you're not going to be searching for, like, you're not living in lack.
Yeah.
Even though there's a situation. Anyways, we won't go down that rabbit hole.
No, thank you. We'll have to catch up on that, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, are you ready? Are you ready to start talking about your charity?
I mean, we're only 31 minutes into it.
I know. Our episodes are usually an hour and a half.
I thought we were going 2 today, but whatever.
We can, whatever.
Let me get a drink before we get into it.
That freaking big thing.
I'm doing 75 hard. So
Are you?
So I started 75 hard right after I got better from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it to day 42 before I couldn't get out of bed for 2 weeks. So my mental brain has to finish what I start.
Yeah.
And now that I actually made it to day 75 of being out of hell before I said, I'm going to finish 75 hard. I needed enough time to let myself feel like I could do something of this magnitude, because being sick, I could barely walk up a flight of steps without being hurt. And now I'm on day 8 of 75 hard, and I am crushing it right now. So
that's awesome. I see you in summer going on hikes all the time.
Yes.
I think that's so great.
Yeah, it is good.
Very, very cool.
Yep.
All right. Tim, what's your charity about? What's it called? What do you do?
Okay, so it's called Fish Out of Water. And it's simply called that because I'd only get so much oxygen during a given day, and I'd start suffocating. And, having long COVID, I never wanted my kids to see the weakness in me, because I wanted them to be able to use that for future things that they came up against. Mm-hmm. And so that was always strong in my head. Well, when I would run out of oxygen, playing with my 6-year-old, who was 4-year-old at the time. Mm-hmm. And I remember one setting, we're all in the living room, we're all playing, having a good time, and oxygen just shut off. And so what I would do is I'd go in the other room and I'd lay on my stomach with my head to the side, and I would literally gasp for air. Like, it's not like you can get full breaths. I would get no breaths, like less than a straw. And I'd almost black out each time. And so I would gasp like a fish out of water. Mm-hmm. And so I remember this happened multiple times. But one time I felt my soul leaving my body. Like I was gone. I felt like I was going to heaven. It was just the most crazy feeling ever. And I'm like, God, if you do not let me die, I will help every single person I can with this that is suffering from this. Because at the time I felt alone, because no one else was saying they're going through it. So I'm like, I know there's other people. Let me help. So that's where the name came from. I like to get the name out of the way. It's Fish Out of Water because of what I went through. And then also because I went through $120,000 and 36 different doctors with no help. Fish Out of Water, created a system that is unlike anything else you're going to hear anywhere else. It's actually magical. And we're starting it at a very small. We're going to do 10 people at a time, and then 20, and then 30, because I don't want to get a story where I hear someone killed themselves because they couldn't get into Fish Out of Water. I don't want to blow it up to 1 million, and then there's 10 million people or 10,000 people we can't help. So you come to Fish Out of Water, and you make a video of yourself explaining what you're going through on a daily basis. You do your bio, and then I can share that with doctors, right? And then those doctors can look at you and say, hey, not look at you, but they'll have a phone conference with you, and they'll talk to you, and they'll assess you, and they'll call me and say, hey, Tim, I can help this person, whether it be detox or stem cells. Here's the money we need. So then I go and I raise the money for these people, and I directly hand it to the doctors. I'm on. No. Can you grab the dog? Sorry.
Thanks, daughter.
We got a new puppy. This is my long hauler.
The hippie?
Yep.
She want to come over and say hi?
You want to say hi real quick? But then you gotta get the little pup out.
Hi.
Hi.
You're not even on there. Say hi, Haley.
You're live on Facebook. Don't be nervous or anything.
You're on live TV right now.
He was just talking about you and sharing your story. I'm so happy that you're feeling better, and good luck at your swim meet tonight.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Put Willow inside.
Okay, don't let her back out. Thank you. So basically, the doctors we were talking about will talk to the patient, and they'll come to me and say, hey, we need this amount of money. So we raise the money to give to these doctors, these COVID literate medical professionals, these beautiful human beings that want to actually help people and have the knowledge to help them. so you don't feel crazy, you don't feel lost, you don't feel alone. We connect them, and then we hand the money to the doctor. We don't hand it to the patient.
Mm-hmm.
Being sick, if I didn't have my wife taking over the business, we'd be in the hole. So if anybody would have given me money, you know, I would have had to use it for bills and whatnot. And those are all real things. There's other avenues out there that we at Fish Out of Water can point you to, to get help with bills and resources. But we help out with the medical bills,
right,
and the doctors. And then
It's
also
so
on the
amazing.
website, we have those doctors under COVID literate medical professional tab.
Okay.
Right now we have 2. We're going to have a plethora more eventually, but you click on there and you can actually watch a video of a doctor. You don't click on a picture. You can watch the video, and they explain what they do, why they do it. You can hear from their heart on how they want to save you. Now, me being sick, this is all the things that came out of my mind being sick. If I would have seen that being sick, I would have clicked on that all day long. I would have gotten to them any way that I can. So it's another beacon of hope we're giving these people, seeing that there's doctors out there, and not through a photo. They get to hear what they're saying and how they can help them. So,
Right. Yeah. That's incredible. And you have, well, we'll get to the people that are on there right now, but you have already managed to help one lady already, right?
Correct.
And remind me her name. I'm sorry.
Her name is Delane.
I knew it was
and
the name. Okay.
We are going to get her another treatment tomorrow because, like I said, the spike protein wasn't removed. So we did the treatment. Delane, it was one of those miracles. You don't see very many miracles in life. And I met with her at EOS Med Spa in Sunset Hills. And I met with her father and her son, and she sits down, and, you know, when she speaks, she spoke like I spoke. It was 2 or 3 words at a time before you have to take a breath, and it's a labored breath, and it's sad. And so she did the exact protocol I did. Excuse me. She did. So you get 75 billion exosomes, and somehow stem cells is mixed in there. I'm not going to give the right ingredients so people on the internet can't make it up. But anyway, you take a third of it through inhalation, so a nebulizer, and then you push 2/3 of it. Well, so she takes her mask off. She had the push go through her arm, and we're in there talking, and I'm trying to lighten the mood up with my dad jokes or whatever I can, just to make people comfortable and that this is going to work. And she asked me once or twice after she got the mask off, you know, how long do you think it's going to be? You know, and the second time she asked, I said, you know, it took 2 hours for me, and I didn't want to give her too much hope over. I don't want to be like, hey, it could be 2 hours. I said, listen, let's think at least 2 days, right? Let's just think in sleep recovery, and then you should feel better. And she paused for a second, and this is 10 or 15 minutes after her mask was off, somewhere in that range, and she started talking, and she never stopped talking. She never had to stop for a breath. And I start crying. Like, I lost it. I'm just crying. And then she looks at me and she's like, I can talk. Oh my God, I can talk. I'm like, you can talk. Like, it was just so amazing that it was just gone like that fast. I mean, it was an absolute miracle to witness it come back that fast. And it hasn't come back completely for her. She's still able to do way more than she ever was. But like I said in the beginning, she was never on anything to help her with the spike protein. So I got her in touch with a doctor. She's on that protocol now. We believe it's working. And so she's going to go do another treatment to see if we can't get it to stick around like mine did.
Okay. Now, is not everybody with long haulers has the same symptoms. Hers just happen to, like, anybody with long haulers, does it have to, is it always affecting in the lungs, or it can be different parts of their body?
No, that's a great question. It changes all the time. Okay. From my understanding, there's, and I could be getting this wrong, somebody out there is going to tell me, maybe 200 symptoms to long COVID. So it's not always the lungs. But the way that I think about it through my experiences, because I do talk to some people that say, I've never had the breathing issue. I've never had that, but I have this. But the way that I think about it is if you can get the inflammation down and you can get more oxygen to your body parts, maybe my POTS is completely gone now. You know, maybe those things can heal themselves. So if anybody would ask me, do you think I should get stem cells because I'm a long hauler? I would say yes, because you're going to healing process. Whether you're suffocating or not, you probably have some little bit of inflammation in there. And the more oxygen you get to different parts of your body, the more it should heal in my mind. So, but no, not everyone is breathing. Most people are not breathing from who I talk to, but there's tinnitus of the ear, like constant ringing 24/7. Like they're still trying to find a cure for that one. I from my understanding, I don't think they've thrown stem cells at that one, which if they do, I'll let everyone know. But there's a lot of different symptoms. Myocarditis is one from not only long COVID, but mainly from the vaccine. The myocarditis mainly came from the vaccine, but there's a lot of different symptoms.
Okay.
Hair loss too. Sorry. Could be one I'm just off the top of my head.
Yeah. So then for your charity, are you specifically just helping people like with what you have struggled with because that's the most education you've gotten, or are there different people you're helping with different symptoms?
So we're helping the way that we broadcast this so we don't get shut down by powers bigger than us.
Yeah, and don't get me shut down.
No. So what we're doing is we're helping, and this is the way we advertise. We help anyone affected by COVID, but we have to direct people once we get past that statement, because people could say, hey, this happened or that happened. We help anyone with vaccine injured or long COVID, and there's 9 pages. There's a 9-page list of side effects of vaccine, front and back. Okay. So I probably had 10 or 12 symptoms that I dealt with on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. There's 9 pages that people that they're showing side effects of the vaccine. So there's a broad spectrum of people we're trying to help.
Okay.
And we're not the education people at Fish Out of Water.
Yeah.
I can give you my experience. I can tell you what I went through. I'm going to offer you hope, and you're going to like it, because I shovel that stuff into you. Like there's no way you're giving up. And I've had many people through this process told me they're still alive because I've done that. You know what I mean? Right. Through my story, and they're long haulers too. But no, we just give hope. We connect you with the professionals, because I don't want to say, hey, this worked for me. You try it and you have a heart attack and die. Right. That goes against anything that I've been wanting to do. But we do have the doctors that know what they're talking about. The FLCCC Alliance, we have partnered with them. And that's your peer, Corey. And he was my hero. I got to meet him in Texas 2 months ago. But we've partnered with them and some other amazing doctors to get you to people who know exactly what they're talking about.
Okay. And when you went to this conference, did you have like anybody else come up to you, any other doctors that like jumped on board then, or what was your experience like?
It was so I'm not long out of hell when I went to that conference. Not enough mentally.
Yeah.
Physically, everything's kind of working good. I'm still a little deconditioned. But day one, we're there, and the guy who saved my life, who gave me stem cells, Dr. Robert Jackson, was there, and he said, "You want me to introduce you to Pierre Corey?" And I'm just like awestruck. I'm like, "There's no way you can introduce me to him, like for real." Anyway, he introduces me, and it went so good, and I was just blown away. I was just starstruck, and he goes, "You guys want to do a presentation tomorrow on stage?" And I'm like, my mouth dropped. And the president, Rick Reed, says, "Absolutely, we would do that." And I probably would have, if I had thought about it, would have said no, because I was a little intimidated. Again, I'm still dealing with a little stuff in my brain,
Yeah.
you know, just like it's so many people. It's so overwhelming. I don't know if I want to put myself in. And he said yes right away. I'm like, oh, now we got to figure this out. So, but we presented on stage. They only gave us 5 minutes. But after that, we had a line stacked up to us. And the convention's going on, mind you. So we had to walk outside of the convention, and we had a line for 4 straight hours. We were on 2 different podcasts, and we had lines of doctors surrounding us to come talk to us because they were blown away by what we're doing because no one else is doing it from their understanding. I mean, there is one React 19 out there that's doing something very similar to what we're doing. They're also helping people out. They're just helping people out that have been affected by the vaccine.
Okay.
We're the full circle. So
Gotcha. So you didn't go to the conference to talk? That wasn't your initial goal?
No, I went down there. Oh my God, Melissa, I went down there.
I did not know that.
They were sold out of tickets. So we bought a ticket, an airplane ticket, paid for a hotel, went down there in the hopes that we could get into this conference. We got the last 2 tickets to get into this conference. The last 2. Oh, let me tell you, let me rewind just a little bit because this is a God thing. Oh, golly, this is exciting. I forgot about this story. On the way down there, the flight is packed, right? Mm-hmm. Rick and I get the last 2 seats. Rick sits on the right. I sit on the left. And I try to talk to my people. They got headphones on, so they don't really want to talk to me. So I look over at Rick to try to talk to him. And, well, he's already busy talking to the people next to him. Rick and I are very similar. Once you ever get to meet him, he talks like I do. And so I'm just kind of trying to eavesdrop. And the lady goes, well, I know Tim Husereau. And I hear EOS Med Spa. And that's where we got Delane and my daughter stem cells. Yeah. And so she looks over and she's smiling and she goes, this is Alyssa's dad. So full story on that. Alyssa's dad, not Alyssa is the nurse that got me in touch with the guy that gave me stem cells that saved my life. Her dad was on the same flight as us.
Whoa.
Going down for 2 completely different reasons. The woman who introduced me to the doctor's dad was sitting next to me on the flight. And we were going down to Texas in a hope to get into a conference. God was literally saying, you guys are going to make it and you're going to do good. Looking at it, in reverse. Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. Like you can't even make that up in a million different stories. So we make it down there. We came up to the conference. We walk in. They're like, last 2 tickets. And I'm like, get out of here. So we just went in and just tried to be us and talk to people. And we did. And it got us on stage day number 2 of the convention.
Wow. And what kind of convention was this? Like what were they doing?
So it's the FLCC Alliance, second convention they did. They bring doctors in, COVID literate medical professionals that know how to treat spike protein, that know how to treat vaccine injuries. They come in and they just collaborate. All these highly intelligent people come on stage and say, this. They just give you different things that the other one couldn't give you.
Okay.
And it's just a group knowledge, a group think tank of how to treat patients that are going through this. It was the way that I explained it was I was Kevin Costner and that was Waterworld. That's I was looking for the land there for 2 years, 3 months and 8 days. And it was in one convention. So when I got on stage, I cried, not a lot, but a little bit. I mean, I didn't cry like I did earlier on this one. It was just magical to see all these people. There's land out there being sick. And they were all in one spot is the best way to explain it. So, yeah.
So I bet you learned a lot there.
Yeah, my mind was blown. But what's fascinating is I did learn a lot. I learned a whole bunch, and I'm still learning from all the things I learned from. But what's crazy is a lot of the things, I'd say 80% of the things that I learned there is what I already knew through my own experience. Like, from what I was teaching doctors some of the things that I trialed and errored, and I'm on some peptides now, and I'm telling them about that. So it was was cool to collaborate with people that are way more education than myself, but mine was experience. And that was my line when I got on stage. What I lack in education, I make up in experience. And that's why I got to sit. Well, I was there because of God, but that's why I was able to collaborate with them. So
yeah, that's really cool, because now, like, your experience, now you're hearing from these doctors and you're like, yes, like that's what I had, or that's what I felt, or that's what.
yeah, it was just, it was, I can't
Oh
even,
my
I don't even have words
gosh.
to explain
That
how
is
cool it
so
was.
cool.
Yeah. And we just wanted to soak that up, was one of the reasons we didn't go to get on stage. We wanted to soak up
Yeah.
everything we could just to give knowledge and connections to other people. But it got much bigger than that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was going to ask another question about the conference, and it was a good one, and now it's went somewhere.
I'm sorry.
No, you didn't do it. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me. I'm not sure. I wrote down experience, but I don't know what that was for. Okay, so I see that you have 3 or 4 more what do we call them? People on your charities, or patients?
We haven't came up with a real good name.
Fishies? Are they fish?
See, I thought that, and that's the thing, since we're brainstorming out loud on here, that I want to come up with something. I want to call them warriors, because they are warriors. I don't think fish, is the proper word.
Yeah.
Even though they are fish out of water, I don't think we call them fish, and I can't call them patients because I'm not a doctor, but they're warriors. So yeah, we have 5. I think we just added a new one yesterday. But one of the gentlemen on there, Marty, he him and I were back and forth the whole time we were sick, just hanging off each other, ideas. And he's on 8 liters of oxygen every day from long COVID, not even vaccine. And he got his first treatment, and I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Marty, I think he cut that down to 4 or 5 liters. Wow. And then since then he started peptides that I've tried, and he just texted me yesterday and says, I think I'm coming back. So, which means he thinks he's getting his life back. We have 3 on there that are vaccine injured that came from the FLCCC Alliance. They sent them to us. And we're trying to raise $11,500 to send them up to New York. And up at New York, they'll get 3 rounds of the stem cells that I got. They'll get one day 1, day 3, and day 5, but they'll get with the top medical professionals in America.
Wow.
They'll be treating them. So if we can raise money for them, they only do that at the end of each month. So that's coming up pretty soon. So we're trying to get them the care that they need. So
okay. Which, by the way, as you're listening to this, or as you're watching it, I don't know. Anyways, if you go to Tim Husereau's page right now, if you scroll down, or you can just tell him the website, you can donate there. But if you're listening to this episode, if you go in the show notes, his charity will be there, and you can donate there to make that easy for you. What is the website name, Tim?
It's www.fowus.org.
FOWUS.org.
Fishoutofwaterus.org.
I love it. And then you just got 503C. Is it? How do you say that?
501.
501 C3.
Yes.
So now businesses can donate.
Yep. Yeah. Any businesses can donate, and we take that money and we directly send it to the doctors, not the patients. So we'll take that. And, when you go on the website, if that's what you want to do, if you want to give the tax write-off from a business, you can go pick the person that you want to donate. Their videos are on there.
Yep. So
you can watch their video. And I warn you, they're very, very sad to watch, but these people desperately need help. So when you watch these videos, it's going to tear your heart out. These people are suffering, but the point is you can pick the person that you want that money to go to. If you have a business and you're like, hey, I want this to go to them, that's where it goes to. So
it's amazing. It's so amazing. Now,
It's God. I'm sorry. I mean, I have nothing to do with it. It's my promise to him. So I'm still here. So
oh my gosh.
yeah.
So funny. So freaking funny.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. So how how are these stem cells like done? Because you said like they're in New York. So you can't just like ship them to you or anything like that. Like where you got yours was in Kirksville. I'm
Yep.
assuming at well, I don't want to assume a hospital or a clinic or
It was
something.
It was at a clinic. And so
Okay.
they have to freeze them negative 80 degrees, I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
could be wrong on that. They have to be frozen, and then, you know, so say you want them tomorrow and you want to go to EOS in Sunset Hills, I'll let them know they need a 24-hour advance to get them shipped there because they have to be frozen all the way to the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The New York is we're just working with the FLCCC Alliance to help out people that they're asking that need help, and that's where they do their treatments.
Oh, okay.
You can get it all around the United States. I'm not sure where at around the United States. I just know right here. I know of Kirksville and Sunset Hills locally. Well, and there's one in St. Louis too. So I know of 3 here locally.
Okay. Now, are you however often, like trying to connect with more doctors to get more like people or doctors on your like website or whatever, or how is that process? Because I'm curious about this.
Yeah, I want as many doctors as we can, because once they watch the video, they might not connect. They, as in the warriors, we'll call them, the people looking for help.
Mm-hmm.
They might not connect with that doctor. So I want them to have options. I want them to feel. I want all the hope they need to be on there. So right now, we have 2 or 3, but they're licensed. The coverage is 33 states. So right now, Fish Out of Water is covered in 33 different states. If you go on there, I want to be all 50 states. I want not one person to go without answers or hope.
Right.
Not one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Tim, you're doing amazing stuff.
It's
God's doing amazing stuff.
Yes. Amen. I want to take credit for it, but I'm not good with that kind of stuff. So I give it to God, and, you know, he kept me alive for it. So he gets it all anyway.
When are you going to get it? We've had this conversation on the first damn episode.
I don't know. Maybe when I make it to heaven, as long as I make it there.
Oh my gosh. Well, what else? Do we have anything else we want to talk about? I mean, shit, an hour?
Yeah, that went by really quick.
It did go by really quick.
Yeah, it went by really fast.
I'm trying to think of what other questions to ask you.
I'm also doing, which I'm also doing to add to, just so for people's knowledge, I'm doing a podcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't named it yet, but
it's called Podcast.
Yeah, it's called Podcast 101 right now. So what I'm going to do is each week is have someone that's a long hauler or vaccine injured on there and tell their stories of what they went through, how they got through it, to share that with other long haulers and vaccine injured people, to give them hope.
Yeah.
And then every 3 episodes, I'm going to have a new doctor on there, so you can hear a doctor explain from his, perspective, what's going on. Basically it's a hope beacon, and that's going to be attached to the website, so people can go on. And the first podcast, we've already done it. The guy's name's Jim Stewart. I'm not going to ruin the whole story, but he got COVID in a healthy young man, 56 years old, was in the service, and he got COVID and went into they put him into an induced coma, and he woke up. Basically, he was on a ventilator for 8 months. I'm going to mess the story up. And they came in and said, hey, we have to get you new lungs because we're trying to get you off the ventilator and they're not working, and so far and so forth. And they said, if you want the new lungs, you have to get vaccinated.
Oh no.
And I can't tell you how terrible it went from there. I'm gonna let you listen to the podcast, but he did pull through. And he is one of the most optimistic people I've ever met in my life. He has not a bad thing to say about anything that happened to him. And this is what I want people to see, like you're doing. You're spreading hope and the bright side. I'm trying to connect people that are going through it or have a loved one going through it. Hey, have them watch this. We're not bashing anything or anyone. This is education, and this is hope for something that you can hold on to, because one of those bad side effects is insomnia.
Yeah.
And I know I told you about that for a while. And I thank God every day that I get up and I get to sleep. I went 3 weeks without a wink of it. But if these people, if I was laying in bed, and this all came from my brain, if I was laying in bed with insomnia and I was just like, I can't take any more of this, and I could turn on this podcast and see Jim talk about what he went through and how I think it would help me relax a little bit to maybe get, mine was suffocating, but just whatever reason they have insomnia, and relax them a little bit to know that hope is coming, hope is on the way, there are answers out there, and definitely don't give up. So
no, and that's literally like what people need is hope and faith. Have you seen the documentary Heal on Hulu?
Yes.
Dude.
Wow.
I think I asked you that on Messenger. I don't remember, but I always think about you when I watch that.
You did. Oh my gosh. Yes, you did.
But that's what people need. They need a positive mind so they don't go to this dark place that is just gonna. I understand why they do. I'm not saying that.
Absolutely. Well, and you made a post the other day, on Facebook, and my brain runs together, but it was something about proper breathing technique. Right? You push your belly button out and you breathe, and that actually helps your vagus nerve relax.
Yes.
And so that's really important for the mental aspect of anybody going, just anyone in general, not to dive too much into that, but breathing is huge for people's mindsets, and most of us don't do it.
No. Dr. Rob Kelly, he's an addiction specialist. He has a shirt that says something about, oh my God, I'm going to butcher it, but about breathing and how like where there is breath, disease can't survive because like oxygen is getting to your.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's, once again, I'm not saying what it says, but breathing is so freaking important.
And that's again why I wanted to say with the stem cells, when people are long haulers and they say, well, I don't have breathing issues. You just said it. Diseases can't exist where there's oxygen. I think if you can get, it through your lungs and it pushing better oxygen out of what pushes oxygen out, you might heal faster. And again, I'm not a doctor saying it's a one fix all, but it makes sense if you can get that in there. So,
and well, why not try it? I understand it costs money, obviously, but when you're where you are, literally just trying to get answers so long that it doesn't, you have taken things that have hurt you further and delayed the process, but you're not trying to do that. You're trying to find the things that can help and not hinder people.
Yeah. And I do want to say, since you brought that up, there is something real that long haulers and vaccine injured people go through. It's called HERCs. So like if you take a supplement or a medication, and people going through it might understand it, they might not have put a name to it. It took me 1.5 years to get it, but you take a certain thing and your body doesn't like it. It's called a HERCs reaction. It can violently react to certain supplements or medications.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll Google it.
I would think it was HERK, but I've never.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
Never been real good at spelling. So, but so I through that $120,000 of trying different things, I had something called mast cell activation. And mast cell is when I would do normal tasks that I could normally do, but my inflammation, basically here, I got my kid's cup here. Find it. Okay. So I do something and my inflammation would overflow my body, would overflow and start affecting my systems in my body. Right. So, but here's the thing. Here's the problem with me. I could never see the cup. I never knew how much inflammation would cause certain issues with my body. So walking up a flight of stairs might've been okay one day, and the next day it might've put me on the couch for 2 days. So it was an invisible thing. That's what I talked about earlier. So mast cell is a real thing that people go through. And the stem cells also help with that as well too. So I I did a couple posts where I would run with my children or do 5Ks and to celebrate before I got out of hell. But I never posted what happened after that. It would be 2 or 3 days of hell, suffocation. My body would barely move because the mast cell would just overload my body with so much inflammation that I would just be dragging my body anywhere I went. And it felt like I was dying the whole time. And that stem cells helps with that as well too.
And that was happening just from you being that active, or that would have happened regardless whether you ran or not?
Regardless. So again, there's
Oh.
this invisible bubble around me. And if I just move a certain way, because every day, no matter what, starting after last summer, I would go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
or I would walk, or I'd swim. I'd do something every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got stem cells, it got so bad where I would go to the gym. And when I say go to the gym, I'd go to the gym, and no offense to 80 and 90-year-old people, I'd work out like an 89-year-old person. I'd take small weights and I'd do a little bit just to get the blood flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be at 7 a.m. By 11 or 12 o'clock, I would have to lay on the couch for at least 2 hours because the mast cell took over my body so bad that it crippled me. I'd have to lay there for a couple hours. And then what I'd do from that point is I'd get up and I'd go start a hot bath. And I'd lay in the hot bath for 15 minutes. And then I was able to get up and I was able to move around again for 3 to 4 hours. Now, I remember at Super Bowl, this is the same process I had to do every single day. It was the same freaking hell every day. Remember at Super Bowl at halftime, my body shut down so bad and we had people over. I had to go actually sit in the bathtub, sitting there for 15 minutes just to get up to make it to the end of the Super Bowl because of the mast cell was attacking my body so bad. So I wanted to talk about that today just because I know a lot of people may not know what that is or what they're experiencing, but that is a real thing. If people could look that up and talk to their doctors about it, if they feel like they have that going on,
Okay.
it's debilitating. And it's just your cells basically attacking your body or inflammation, too much inflammation. I'd have to take Alka-Seltzer 2 to 3 times a day because it has a histamine blocker. And if my kids had something that I wanted to go to an event for, no longer than an hour or two, I had to be scared to go out longer than an hour or two. I'd take an Alka-Seltzer and then I was able to attend and it would block the histamine long enough to where I wouldn't become crippled at the event, and then I can make it back home. So that all was happening right up until I got the stem cells 84 days ago. So all of that every single day.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. On top of suffocating, chronic fatigue. Like when I'm tired now, I actually get excited about it. This isn't even nothing. And that's a metaphor. If I can leave with I want to leave that with people because it really helps me heal. Like maybe I'm getting too far off in the weeds, but I pretend that my vision is a windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And when something hits it, like fear or anxiety or any worries at all, it's me. I'm looking at my windshield. That's a bug on my windshield, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I stare at the bug at my windshield, I'm going to run into a damn tree. So all I do is I just remove it. Like, hey, that's just fear. Just I pretend in my head windshield wipers just took that fear off. And that's the same thing with my tiredness now. I was so tired I wanted to die for a long time. Now when I get tired, I'm like, man, that's exciting. Like I'm excited to swat that one away. Like, oh, you're not even really that tired. So I wanted to leave that with anyone dealing with anything. Like that's a good way to look at things. And it's a good healing process I use when something comes up. If you stare at what is on your windshield, you're still going where you want to go, right? I'm still heading the direction I want to go. Let's just remove it from my view. Or don't, if I can't remove it, just know that I'm still going in that direction and I'm going to get there regardless of whatever. This will pass. This little bug that's stuck will eventually be gone.
That's one of the best analogies I've ever heard. That is so freaking good.
Yeah, thank you. It works so good. I use it all the time. I still have a little bit of PTSD with being sick in different places. And when I go, I just when it sticks on my windshield, I'm like, I just remove it and remind myself why I'm here, the direction I'm going. And I also remind myself that God has me here. And everyone should remind themselves of that. I mean, that's the most powerful tool ever. But that windshield analogy can be huge for people if you can just see it. Just because
Yes.
it's letting you recognize something popped up on your windshield, but it's not you. You're still going that way. This is just a little bug. Don't stare at it.
Oh my God. So since you just brought that up, that's literally, I made a video about this on TikTok the other day, and it's kind of what you're saying, because we all have these visions and goals that we want to do in life. Well, no matter what. Yours is like, I just want to freaking feel normal. Like,
Yeah.
that's still a goal or a vision.
Yeah.
But we have these little things that come up no matter what they are, financial hiccups or health related or whatever. And then sometimes that will get in the way of our goal, our vision, our windshield, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tend to focus on that one thing, like this didn't work, or my fear or my anxiety. And the video I made is, and I don't want to get too crazy, but like where they basically say is like where your focus goes is where your energy goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally a thing. So if you keep
Yeah.
on focusing on the worry and the anxiety, it's just going to like multiply and happen more.
Yeah.
When you're not looking out your whole damn windshield and see like that's just a little bug. Like go around it, do the windshild wipers,
it allows
whatever.
you to pull it out of your focus like that easily. Like I've used it with my ADD ridden brain. I've used a lot of metaphors to try to get past things through this whole thing, but that removes it all right away. When it hits, you're still I guess I have to start over. You have to have a direction where you want to go in life. If you're just driving your car around and something hits your window, it's probably going to run you into a tree because you have no idea where you're going. So I know I'm getting way off, but I wanted to give somebody something to look at. Like, if you're dealing with this and mast cell comes up, yes, it is probably a rabbit that hits your windshield and not a bug, but you're not going to die. You're still going in the right direction. Keep going. Keep searching for answers. Use a windshield analogy if you can, because it's helped me through it tremendously. So
yes. And something else I want to say about that is, you going through this 2 years of stuff, you've learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
When you felt something inside you or you were suffocating, through this whole process, you were finally able to put a name or understand what's going on in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, once it becomes aware of it, now it actually exists, and you you have the power to figure out how to change that, if that makes sense. So anything you become aware of, for example, like, oh, I have childhood trauma. Okay, well, that means I am now aware of that I have some coping mechanisms. I can now have the power to change that. So what you're saying is, maybe this is what these people have, is mast cell activation. And now you're aware of it, which means now you can further educate yourself.
Yeah.
And, and that's what you want to do, is
yes,
give people names. And, maybe people don't even freaking know everything about long COVID and what is even happening to them. They just know what they're feeling, but they don't have the spike protein name or the whatever other name. And so it's really important what you're doing. Yeah.
And that's it. We're just, because there's so many different times over those couple years of me not, like you just said, me not knowing what it is. So I would go on, take money and experiment to try to pinpoint what it was, because there was an education out there to say, this is what it was. This is what it could be. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give a face to what you're dealing with so you can see it and then you can attack it. So you nailed it.
Yep. Have you been on the news yet? Have you pitched them yet?
No. And I talked to someone this morning about why. So I'm trying to perfect the model to 10 people. Then we're going to move it to 20, then to 30, because I was told a story before I went to Texas and got on stage of 2 men that have been dealing with long COVID for, 12, 14 months, and they both killed themselves. And they were both police officers. One went in the other room and did it while his children were in the other room. And I'm not taking from him, because I felt that guy. I should have been that guy. My 6-year-old saved my life. And so I don't want to scale it so big, so fast that I can't control it. So I'm trusting God's going to let me know how to scale it, but we're going to try to do it the right way. We're going to try to do a model of 10, perfect that, make sure we didn't leave anyone behind, then move to 20. But it could go from 10 to 1,000 if we get the right people working for Fish Out of Water. We have a solid 5 right now. I'm not asking for more people to be part of Fish Out of Water. I just don't want to grow so big is my point. I want to, once we feel comfortable that I feel like I can take on 10,000 people, I will go to the news.
Yeah.
So I thought about that a lot.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I wanted to go to the news, but then I'd have 10,000 people on there.
Yeah.
We didn't have the funds to help 10,000 people. And where my mind is being sick. Like, if this place is hope and they don't give me hope, then I'm going to get depressed. Yeah. So when you come to me, we're going to not only give you hope, we're going to try to save you. So, yeah.
So brainstorming live.
Yeah.
What if you spun it to where you're at that point not actively taking patients or whatever you want to say, but this is just maybe to just get funding or something? Just a thought where,
No, I really like it. I got to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't want to lose that hope step. But that, I mean, I do like that. And we have some people that are looking at definitely helping the people we have on there right now. So
yeah,
I just don't want to be laying in bed at night thinking about someone that's dying and I'm not doing anything about it. And I know their story. I know everybody's story on there right now. And I lay at bed knowing that I'm going to be getting them help. If there's 1,000 people on there and I've watched their stories and I know I can't help them, it's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So
I definitely understand that for sure. One last thing, and then we've managed to make it almost an hour and a half. Yes. Is your podcast, are these the people that are on Fish Out of Water, or they just they could happen to be on people on your Fish Out of Water thing, or they could just be long COVID people that you just met?
So what I'm trying to do is people that have recovered on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Only because I don't want to showcase someone going through it and not have any answers. Because I'm trying to give the people that are going through it hope.
Yes.
And I'm not saying there is one gentleman that's a vaccine injured that's on our site. I'll probably have him on the podcast. I'm not going to even get into a story. He is, not comparing journeys. His journey is probably 10 times harder than mine was. And it's just devastating what he's going through. So he might be on there, but no, it's basically people that ever, because it's a hope thing.
Yeah.
I want hope. So.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk more about that offline. Anything else you wanna share about your journey or Fish Out of Water or anything like that before I ask you your last question?
I mean, not that I can think of. I mean, I could talk about this because it's ongoing forever. But I wanted to get the information out there today. Just touch on the story a little bit on what's been going on, and just kind of direct people to know that there's hope and options out there. So I don't want to get off on a tangent on another story because, again, you know me, I could talk all day. So
fair enough. Well, Tim, what you're doing is just incredible, and I know, like, seriously, you, God, whoever I'm talking to, I'm not really sure, but it's amazing.
I'll take this one.
There you go. See, there you go. You know that I ask you this every time, and we're gonna see if your answer has changed this time. But Tim, in your own words, what does the bright side of life mean to you in 2023?
In 2023, the bright side of life means to me. I got so many things going on. The bright side of life to me just means just to be grateful every single day for everything you have. I mean, you seen me from the outside going through this. You said I was depressed. People that didn't know me or didn't care, right? You never know what somebody's going through, right? And so don't throw stones. Just I think the bright side is just be grateful for what you have in your life, and that energy will transfer to other people. Like I don't know. Gratitude is the best thing that I can express for that answer.
Yeah, I love it. And gratitude is the best thing that anybody can do, because gratitude, literally, when you practice gratitude, it's saying you have already received that. I'm saying,
Yeah.
Tim, thank you for giving me what you just gave me. Thank you for giving me a great episode. Thank you for giving me positive energy. Thank you for giving me whatever you gave me. And that opens your heart literally to receive more. So when you're grateful for everything, anything, this pen, I mean, we've been down this road, but it's so important. Gratitude is so damn important.
Yeah, it will make that windshield clear on the direction you're going if you're just grateful, knowing in your back seat you're grateful for your kids and your house and your dog or whatever it may be. But I will also add, because I forgot to add this, I talk about a lot, I found God, but one of the reasons I found God was I found being angry about things and being a long hauler would shut my body down faster. It really would.
Literally, yes.
It would shut it down so much faster. And so I found, and I've had a lot of people say, how can you forgive so-and-so for saying that about you? Because there's a lot of people that said some pretty awful things.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I'm getting baptized tonight, is because I found that love is the only way to get past anything. If somebody does something awful to you, you just give them love back. And it sounds crazy to say it, but you're going to, you're going to expose where their shortcomings are, and maybe they'll see it and maybe they won't, but you don't have to deal with them anymore, but your body will heal. It won't hold on to that trauma. If you just give that love back to someone, it's not on you anymore to think about how angry you are. So I had to learn that through my recovery process. And if anyone's going through it, yes, you have every single right to be mad at doctors. You do, but it's not going to do you any good. So just do what I did and think about it's not their fault, and give them empathy, because they're not being taught the right information. You could be you could be mad at your family for saying you're depressed. You have every right to be depressed. You're sick and people aren't helping you out there. Right. So just keep practicing this daily givance of love. It's not going to fix you, but it's going to take you out of a place of hell and know that you're going to recover from there. So,
yep. So spot on. Oh, that's so true. It really is, because the emotions that are in your body can create these things and help heal you.
Yeah.
I mean, in that documentary, it shows it when you have like gratitude, this, that, and the other, you're literally forming different chemicals, as opposed to anger, resentment, guilt, shame, fear, whatever. It creates different things in your body, and that can either hinder you or heal you.
That one lady dropped a tumor off her body from thinking differently, if I recall correctly. Like, it's amazing what your thoughts and your energy can actually do. So
yep, exactly. P.S. Side note: have you ever watched Dallas Buyers Club?
I have. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, this kind of just reminds me of the story because of the big pharma. They wanted to give him something that was actually hindering him, and he went on his own to go find his stuff and live way longer than the doctors said.
That's what I had to do.
Yep.
I would be dead if I listened to Big Pharma. So, but I don't talk much about it because I don't want stuff shut down.
So on that note, we're going to go. Well, Tim, thank you so much. I'm going to end this broadcast. I won't end it with you, but it'll end to the Facebook land and YouTube land. So thank you very much.
Thank you for number 3. And if I come on for number 4, hopefully.
No, you are. You're going to be back on.
We've already saved hundreds of thousands of people, and that's what the episode's about.
Yes, exactly. And we'll have on a special guest, like a highlight somebody.
Yes, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right, I'm going to end this.